Hey there, welcome back to Manotick StringWorks. Glad to have you here. So please remember to like and subscribe for more video content. Alright, so here's part 3 of the Thinline Telecaster modifications. So the owner had supplied a replacement bridge that he was hoping to use. So here I'm just marking out the position of the existing bridge. And they are different, the two bridges. So I'm just removing the 4 screws that hold the bridge down. Actually, it's 5 screws. And here's the new bridge. So this one only has 3 screws at the back, and the owner was hoping to use that. He wasn't too keen on all the screws. Plus, he wanted to swap out the saddles from the old bridge to this new replacement bridge. So I was just going to try and see if that worked okay. So we shouldn't have an issue with that. A little finicky sometimes with the springs, trying to get them through there. So I'm going to position one of the saddles on the first string, because that's where you measure your intonation from, the scale length. I should say the scale length. And I'll try and place the bridge over the existing holes in line with where that mark is on the piece of tape, which is 25.5 inches, the scale length. So the front edge of the bridge. So maybe it's a little hard to see on camera, but it doesn't quite line up. You can see on the bass side, it's shifted over quite a bit from the existing bridge, so it's smaller. And it means the string through body holes aren't lined up with the holes that are on this bridge, plus the string spacing is narrower. I would really have to plug and drill all new holes for the string through portion, etc. So I think this is going to be a no. Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to completely cover the existing screw holes. So I think we'll stick with the original bridge. So there's a bit of fret sprout on this guitar. It's not too bad, but I'm going to use the safe edge fret file here and just start working the file across the edge of the frets, left and right side, up and down the fretboard. You do 3 or 4 passes each side, and you got to use your finger to feel. And I'll flip the file on its edge and just go over the edge of the fret and the tang that might be sticking out through the wood a little bit. Yeah, not too bad, but I'm going to do both sides. And once I've done that, I'm going to use the fret erasers to clean the frets. 150, 180, 400, and 800 grit. Love fret erasers, everyone should have them. There's a new pack, which I keep saying I'm going to open one of these days. Alright, so once I cleaned all the frets with the fret erasers, I'm going to use some steel wool and a neck protector and just polish the frets out. I find this works really nicely. You can get into polishing compounds and all kinds of things, but without having to tape up the neck, do lots of other things to safeguard. This works really well, and it gives a nice result. I'll just dust everything off. Always have a brush handy. And there you can see the old light test. That looks really good. A lot better than it was before. So the problem we have with the existing saddles are the screws are too high, right? So when you're playing, if you're muting or resting your hand on the bridge, it gets pretty sharp. So there's lots of room, there's lots of travel under the saddle, so I don't think there's any issue with the neck angle. So we'll just change them out. I ordered up some 8mm high M3 hex screws. That's what these are. Use a 1.5mm hex driver, or Allen key if you have an Allen key. I'll sort of set these about where they were, level-ish. I'm going to set the string height after. But you can see, so I've done all the strings except for the first string, and everything's flush now, and I didn't change the height of the saddles or anything. So it's a nice easy fix, improves the playability and comfort for sure. And aesthetics too, looks better. So just a quick look at the radius. It's 9.5 all the way down the fretboard. It's not a compound radius. So the strings are 9.5s to 44s, bit of a hybrid. So I'm using my bench vise here. I like doing that for this job. Push the strings through from the back. Sometimes, especially with the first and second strings, they can get stuck in between the saddles. They're not quite coming out. Just have to keep poking it in and out there, and it'll eventually come out. I mean, this is one job I use the bench vise for, but I love that bench vise. Alright, so we're stringing up. Already done the 6th string. So go like, these are vintage style tuners too. So you cut the string about 1.5 inches, 2 inches past the tuning post, stick it all the way down the hole, and wind it so the windings go underneath. And there you go. Pretty simple. Just like a bass guitar. Do again. So the wound strings, sorry. They, usually about 2 or 3 tuning posts past the tuner that you're on. And the plain strings, it's about the same, but you're going to get more windings. So the wound strings, you'll get maybe 2 or 3 windings, and the plain strings, you'll get 4 or 5. So once you've installed the strings, of course, tune it up, and then stretch the strings. So pull on the string, give them a good heave, especially the wound strings. Do that 2 or 3 times. You will detune the guitar by at least a half a step when you do that. That's the idea. Okay, so this is the next day. And I'm going to check the neck relief at the 7th fret. I like to see between 10 and 12 thousandths. So this one, we're going to tighten this one up a little bit, I believe. And so that's using a 4mm wrench. There we go. That worked out nicely. The string height on Fender guitars at the 17th fret should be about 4/64, right from the 1st to the 6th string. And so I'll use my homemade gauges. Also, you can use a ruler like this that has millimeters, thousandths of an inch, 64ths. I'll use both. So I like to start at 4/64 and then see if the guitar likes it. Some guitars don't like it, some do. Usually I'll find maybe the 6th string, so the bass E string. Maybe just raise it up a touch, like a 1/4 or half a 64th. So no magic here, just one string at a time. Double check. Also make sure your saddles are even, so they're parallel to the body of the guitar. You don't have one side higher than the other. When you have 2 of the saddle screws contacting the bridge, that gets a more positive transmission of the vibrations. So we'll check the intonation at the 12th fret, open string, harmonic, and then the fretted note. So here you can see we're a little sharp. That one's flat, the B string's a little flat, but it's tuned flat. Yeah, it goes sharp when you fret the note. So they're all just a little bit sharp. So I'll adjust the intonation. So when it's sharp, you want to lengthen the string, so flatten the note. Open string, harmonic. There we go. So I'll do that for all the strings. I'm going to check for fret buzz. So you just have to fret each note on each string, up and down the fingerboard. You can do it lying down like this on the bench. You can do it in the playing position. It's up to you. I find that if you don't have fret buzz when it's flat on the bench, you're not going to have fret buzz in the playing position. So the nut action should be about 18 to 20 thousandths at the first fret. So that's the distance from the underside of the string to the top of the fret. So we'll try the 18. So when you push down on the feeler, if there's no noise, then you know you're right on. So we're at about 18 thousandths, which is nice. Finger test, feels good. Alright, so pickup height, 1/8 on the bass side, 3/32 on the treble side. That's a great starting point. Sorry for the spelling error on side there. I just noticed that. So you start with these measurements and then, play your guitar. See if you like it a little closer, if you like it a little further away. Generally closer, you'll get a little louder, but you could also start to get in some funny harmonics, or the string isn't resonating correctly because of the magnetic field. It's closer to the magnetic field. And if the pickup's too far away, well, you're probably going to not have much volume. And just wondering where all that volume went. I find the gauges I make this really easy. You can use a ruler, of course. Alright, well that's it. 3 parts, all done. Looks good. Sounds pretty good. I like 2 humbuckers. I like at least 1 humbucker on a Strat or a Tele. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.